See, here's the thing. We can talk about what's positive and negative and all that other stuff as it relates to this football team. And Marquis here says, will we get a positive DK this afternoon? You're just going to get whatever the DK happens to be that day. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Double Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. It's neither positive nor negative. It's neither happy nor sad. It's neither a downer nor, some pep rally. It is whatever the subject is. That's, if you think about what we do as reporters, if you think about our role, all of this probably makes a whole lot more sense. We're not in here to say, go now, beat those whoever's they're playing this weekend. It's not that. That game in Cincinnati was a setback and a half for one side of the football. We're not going to gloss over that because you know what happens if we do? You're not going to take us seriously the next time we say something positive. Oh, yeah, that guy, he's always happy. He's always this or that. The only thing that we should be doing on here is getting into what's real. That's it. And what's real right now is that defense needs a big bounce back. But since everybody's all whatever about this, I'm going to offer you what I think is the one most significant reason that this defense can bounce back. And that's going to be that they do have talent. The one thing that nobody can argue with in looking at these guys, looking at whoever's lining up, is look at those names. Look at those resumes. Look at those pedigrees. Look at those personalities. Look at what they've achieved. And then ask yourself, are they capable of just showing up Sunday night against the Packers and blowing everybody away and saying, aha, you were wrong? Of course they are. Of course they are. This today was Jalen Ramsey, one of those talented players, after practice on the south side.
I mean, I think that's a part of it. That's a piece of the puzzle for sure. But everybody got to do their thing, though. You know what I mean? We're not going to put it on one phase of the game. That's why football is so important. There's multiple phases of the game, so you can't just say one phase and fix everything. You got to correct mistakes in all phases.
And to be clear, what Jalen was talking about was whether or not it's all, on fixing the running game. And he became the first person in the building to say, of course it isn't. This was TJ Watt, the most talented of all of these players.
Stop the run, and obviously try to affect the pass as much as we possibly can. I mean, not happy with not getting a takeaway 2 weeks in a row. I think there's just a lot of things of guys doing their job individually and allowing us to play the best we possibly can collectively, and getting back to what we do. It sucks going through this high, low, but we just got to get it figured out. And I feel like we had a good week this week, and it only pays off if we perform on Sunday night.
There it is. One of them says it's not just the run. The other one is stop the run. But they can make a difference. They can make a difference just by being their own best selves. Ramsey, TJ, Cam Hayward. Best players being your best players. Guys who've said, over the years, hey, here's how we're going to bounce back, and then showed you that they did bounce back collectively. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's real stuff. That's not hopey, wishy, or whatever else here. That's real. That's real. And if these guys can find a way to get it together, these guys can find a way to raise up their own individual levels to where we're used to seeing them. And I'm looking specifically at someone like Darius Slay here. Yes, I understand he's 2 years older than any other corner in the league. Yes, I also understand that he's fresh off being really, really, really good in something that he's not been really, really good at so far this year. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Chris Halleck.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, DK?
Wait, no, you had something else to say there. What were you going to say?
I'm good.
You're better.
I'm better. I'm better.
So go ahead, tell everybody.
I've been under the weather for a few days. It's all right. It's what happens when you have two kids in school and then the wife also works in school too.
That's what it is. You get what everybody's got. You get your full smorgasbord of all the various illnesses at a given school. I miss the kids. I don't miss that component of it. I really don't here. The Steelers versus Packers weekend is finally here. It's time to check out the latest odds, futures, win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to take care of Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, and everybody else on that side of the ball and make all the cheeseheads that are going to be coming into downtown this weekend unhappy, lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers all of the latest lines, futures, and specials so that you can join in on all of the action. Paulie's only worried that you don't get the players sick. Chris didn't go to practice today.
I wasn't on the south side today, so don't worry about it.
Also, we're not idiots. I mean, we, especially through COVID, we really learned about the don't get these guys sick.
Yeah.
And the team's attitudes about that, which is, don't get these guys sick. We don't care if you're sick. We care if they're sick.
Yeah.
Just stay the heck away from them. Don't come here. Wash your hands. Do everything else here. Well,
and the thing is, they have that Germex stuff at the Southside facility, and I swear to God, my hands are drying out because I was using it like every 5 minutes. So I was just constantly desanitizing my hands and desanitizing everything. I might as well have just rubbed it all over my body and just been like, I'm just completely germ free right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. Eric Jefferson says he's flying into Pittsburgh tomorrow evening. Hope the shop is open. It will be. We're doing it. Is it 9 to 9? 9 to 9, says the boss. If you come, bring food. She's gonna be starving. I will be here for part of the day, like late afternoon. Then I have to head up to cover the first place Pittsburgh Penguins against the
Hall of Fame night too, right?
Columbus Blue Jackets and Hall of Fame night. Our great friend Eddie Johnston's getting inducted into this class.
Guest of the show, by the way, Eddie Johnston.
He is a friend to the program in many, many ways. We love EJ. It's going to be great to see him honored, and appropriately so. The man who drafted Mario Lemieux and did so much more for this franchise that it's hard to even quantify. That's going to be really, really nice here. Daniel Pike says he's highly concerned about the level of explosive plays that Green Bay produces on a regular basis and the Steelers' inability to stop explosive plays. You had me until that last part. See, when I think of the Steelers defense, I'm not thinking of people blowing the top off on this team. I think if you get into, there's a standard definition now for what's a big play in the NFL. It's 20 yards and up. But if I look at what I think of it as explosive, I'm thinking, Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf for 80. Okay, that's explosive. I haven't seen the Steelers having that problem. But what about the Packers, Chris?
Well, I mean, I've been working today on my next opponent piece, which will go up on the app shortly after the show is over. And yeah, when you do your homework on this team, you understand why going into the season they were a Super Bowl contender, and then they acquired Micah Parsons, And then if you had any kind of potential in front of Super Bowl contender, the potential
you're
got
in.
discarded. Yeah, no, you can see because I mean, shoot, like they're the 7th scoring offense in the league. They're the 10th scoring defense in the league. They're second against the run. Their EPA numbers aren't quite. It's funny. Their EPA numbers on defense aren't quite as good as their actual traditional numbers. And their EPA numbers on offense are better than their regular actual traditional numbers. So they're very efficient on offense and they're not as efficient as they look on defense. But either way, the one thing that really stood out for me when it comes to the Packers is they're 5th in red zone touchdown efficiency, which by the way, the Steelers are 4th. But the Packers are number 1 in the league in third down efficiency. They are converting 3%. Pretty much half of their third downs. That is not easy to do.
No, it's been a lot of different targets too. That's the part that makes it impressive. It's not just Jordan Love fixing on one guy and here's our third down guy. They spread things around in the Green Bay offense. It's smart, it's organized, it's fast, it's aggressive, and it's unpredictable. And that's what you would expect from Matt LaFleur and what it is that he brings.
Good coach.
To a football field, right? And he's been a good coach for a long time. This precedes his head coaching days out there. This is a guy that's I think is going to be around the NFL for a long time. And I would have said that before the success they're having this season.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there are a lot of interesting matchups. Obviously, the big interesting matchup in this game is Aaron Rodgers facing his former team of 18 seasons. But I'm actually a little bit more interested. Now, they're not facing each other head on because they're both offensive coaches. But Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Packers, with Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator for the Steelers on the other side. And, I mean, Arthur Smith is, I don't know necessarily say he's a protege of Matt LaFleur, but heavily influenced by Matt LaFleur. Because Matt LaFleur was the OC at Tennessee, while Arthur Smith was one of the, position coaches. Then LaFleur gets his job with the Packers and Arthur Smith gets promoted to offensive coordinator. When LaFleur left for Green Bay, he wanted to bring Arthur Smith with him. And Arthur Smith accepted the offensive coordinator job in Tennessee and obviously had a lot of success there for 2 years. But those two are they have ties. And so I'm curious to see like which offense prevails, because the one thing that the Steelers have about like how to know like what Matt LaFleur likes to do is Aaron Rodgers, who played for 2 seasons, like had 2 MVP seasons under Matt LaFleur. And I wonder how much, I even asked Cam Hayward this week, how much are you picking Aaron Rodgers' brain about Matt LaFleur's system? And he goes, oh, I was like, are you guys picking Aaron Rodgers' brain? He goes, maybe.
Yeah. That's a good safe answer just in case they aren't. And they wouldn't look so good. Emery White says more YA Black and less Keanu Benton this week. Let's keep talking about ways to fix this defense instead of just saying, hey, they stink. There's definitely room for more YA Black. He barely had a dozen snaps. There's gonna be room for less Benton, given the way he performed, particularly in some of the run sequences. If your priority coming out of this, and boy, they can't make this any clearer, is to stop the run, one of the pieces of that is to look at the people, the humans that you have on the field who aren't stopping the run. And Benton's been one of those. I understand he had himself a great rebound of his own over in Ireland, but this is crunch time. Look at this schedule. Look at these offensive opponents. It's time to start putting the people on the field who will perform and sticking by them. No more awkward breaks, 3 days or anything like that. Put your best guys out there and start riding them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that Mike Tomlin has actually been pretty good at over the course of his, tenure as the Steelers coach is that he doesn't flap in the wind. He doesn't make herky-jerky decisions because one player had a bad game and so he benches him. And then he gives somebody, I think he allows something to kind of ride for a little while, even if he's gone too long. We've seen Keanu Benton be really bad. We've also seen Keanu Benton be really good. And I think him kind of sticking with Benton during this time is giving Benton a chance to really become a better player, because we've seen the potential, and we've actually seen him flash more potential this year than we've seen him flash at all in previous years. That game in Minnesota, he looked like an all-pro. He was phenomenal. Or I'm sorry, in Minnesota, in Dublin
against the Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that game, he looked like he was a one-man wrecking crew in that entire game. Even plays where he wasn't getting in the backfield and getting sacks, he was just mauling those guys. Now you could say, oh, it was against backups. So I don't care. They're NFL players. That gets way too thrown around like, oh, he was just facing backups. I'm sorry. These are NFL players. Yes, it's not like facing an all-pro, sure, but you still have to beat the guy across from you, and he still played very, very well. I understand why people want to pull the plug on Benton, but I think that if fans were really in control and pulled the plug every single time a player performed badly, you'd be seeing this constant change. Yeah.
Yeah, we're no different here. There's no looking down on anybody. We don't matter either.
Yeah.
Where is Derrick Harmon in this mix? Asks Jeffrey. Harmon has a really versatile toolkit, and Harmon has a really versatile approach to what it is that he does, but it's built in. That's one of my favorite things about 99 so far. He's not, I have to switch from pass rush mode to run stopping mode. He's just that. He's got experience. He's got know-how. And my goodness, does this young man have confidence? He's not a boaster. He's not a bragger. You can just see it in how he carries himself. Yeah. And how he performs. So Harmon, I think, should be in this mix. I'm going to go ahead and say this, if that's what you're asking here, Jeff. It's time. It's time. If you're going to have only 2 down linemen, if you're going to be stubborn about this and say just tackle harder, then your 2 down linemen need to be a whole lot of 97 and 99. Let's just say it for what it is. I'm not saying this is a playoff game or whatever, but I'm not going to say that it isn't either. A lot of 97 and 99. Every once in a while, rotate in some other people, but don't take it any further than that. Ben has a question. It's a good one here. If we need someone to hold the middle of the field, isn't that where Jabril Peppers comes in, Chris?
That could be Jabril Peppers. It could be Deshaun Elliott. It could be Patrick Queen. It could be a number of different guys. It depends on how you're playing that middle of the field. But the problem isn't who can play the middle of the field. The question is, are the Steelers going to call coverages that put somebody in the middle of the field?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, I mean that's the again, I talked about it yesterday, and I can get into the X's and O's about it. You can do cover one robber, you can do cover one with a hole defender, you can do a number of different things to put that guy in the middle of the field. But the problem is that a lot of the time when the Steelers are in a zone coverage, they're in cover 3. And cover 3, in terms of underneath defenders, does not have a defender in the middle of the field. You have two guys kind of taking away the hook in the curl zone, and then you have 2 guys out in the curl and the flat zone. That's just the structure of cover 3. When they're in man, it's man across the board. There's nobody playing that zone or taking away that zone or robbing that zone out in the middle of the field. That's just the way the Steelers have been playing. So I don't think it's a question of who you can put in the middle of the field. Even if you don't take Peppers into account, you can put Deshaun Elliott in there. You can have Queen be that guy, or even Peyton Wilson be that guy who drops back from the linebacker spot and just sits there in the middle of the field. The problem is they're not calling that. They're just not calling that coverage. That's the problem. It's not like a problem of like, who can they put there?
That's exactly right. This one is on your alignment in the coaching staff. Not everything is. Daniel Hanst wants to know why you didn't mention Peyton Wilson in that little group of people who could be in the middle of the field.
Did.
No, in the original, original wave, you mentioned like 3 guys, and Peyton Wilson's obviously a coverage guy.
Yeah.
Look, whatever it is that they come up with outside of Wizard of Boz's horrific idea here to just teach Darnell Washington defense by the end of the week.
Yeah.
All the other ideas are good ideas. That one isn't.
Can I go on a really, really quick tangent real quick? Just real fast, because somebody brings this up. So stop cover 3. It sounds like a prevent defense. Cover 3 is actually a defense that blends the ability to take away deep passes and to defend the run. because it means you only have you have 3 deep defenders, which means you have what's 11 minus 3? 8. 8 guys, as you can have up to 8 guys who can all be defending the run. So you can defend the run
because this one can.
Yeah. And then you also have three defenders deep, so you shouldn't be able to be beat deep very often because you have 3 defenders deep instead of 2 or 1. So cover 3 is like you're trying to do both. You're trying to defend, to take away deep stuff, but also be able to defend the run. It's a coverage that can be utilized very, very well. So I don't want people to just think that, oh, they're just playing spot drop cover 3 is such a bad thing, but there is good use for it. Just let people educate people on that just really quick.
Those of you who are asking about the NBA, this is Pittsburgh, right?
Oh, geez.
This is Pittsburgh. We don't have an NBA here. We don't do an NBA or whatever else. NBA. This is a hockey town. Let's be real about that here. And let's do a little bit of an interlude here on that note. Frank Ray says, how about them Penguins? 6-2. Went into Sunrise, Florida last night and took out the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs who played with some bite. The Panthers did. I thought they were a little bit flat in the first period, but all their names started coming after that, and it was a matter of withstanding it. But not only that, Chris, the trait that we've seen in these Penguins this year is that they don't just defend the lead. They add on. That's what kept happening in this game. Every time the Panthers would come within 1, Penguins would score again.
Well, they would punch back, and they were very opportunistic last night because, I definitely know the game of hockey more than I do, but Florida outplayed them in a lot of ways last night. They outshot them. They attempted them. It was just Florida was at times suffocating, but the thing that
I wouldn't go that far. I think what happened in the second and third periods was the Panthers were playing from behind. So in general, you're not going to just you're not responsible as a hockey player. And this as you cross the other team's blue line and just randomly fire the puck on net. So you're going to give up shots on goal. That to me doesn't mean all that much. I thought when they were in the defensive zone, they defended really well. And they just kept scoring.
And that's I think that's the thing when we talk about like past Penguins teams, even like recent past Penguins teams versus this year, is that they don't look discombobulated in their own zone when defending. I think that's actually probably the most encouraging, outside of Ben Kindle looking like a legitimate NHLer at 18 years old. I mean,
dude, what is that? Like, I've seen him make shots in practice.
Yeah.
Where I would go, whatever. I'd have never seen one that was a slap shot. I've never seen him do that.
It was the give and go part to me. That was the. I mean, yes, the finish was great.
It was double give and go with Tommy. Like doom, bang, right over Sergei Bobrovsky's blocker. It was like, are you kidding me?
But I would say outside of like Ben Kindle and Harrison Brunick at 18 and 19 years old, looking like legitimate NHL players at their ages, one of the most encouraging things that I've seen from the team, and I've watched all of maybe 4 or 5 games and watched portions of other ones, is that they don't look discombobulated especially when they're kind of trapped in their own zone. That's another one. And Tristan Jarry's been significantly better. But
and Arthur Shelovs has the same exact numbers. 3-1 with a shutout, same save percentage, same everything, or similar. It's been really fun. It's been for those of you who are football fans wondering what the heck the tangent's for. Around here, it's been pretty nice to have these guys have the week that they've had, given what happened with the Steelers in Cincinnati. Everybody just kind of jumped on like, oh, hey, look at this. They're in first place.
But at the end of the day, guys, Pittsburgh has 2 first-place teams right now.
Yep.
They got the Steelers, and they have the. And listen, I understand that if the Steelers go into Sunday night and they lose to the Packers, and they're 4-3. I understand, like, you're going to think, oh, the season's coming to an end, or, and we're not even through October. But, man, it's still just like it is for the Penguins. It's a great start, but it's a long season. They've played 8 of 82 games. The Steelers have played 6 of 11. There's still a long way to go for both teams. And so I think both teams are still trying to figure themselves out. Obviously, the Steelers are much further along in their season. But at the end of the day, relish in the fact that, especially when you look at who's across the river from DK, this city has 2 first place teams right now. So,
or as Robert put it, 2 teams to try.
well, that's true too. Can never question that with the Steelers and the Penguins too. Those teams are always trying to, even if they're not like the Penguins are obviously like, call it a rebuild, call it a retool, whatever. They obviously had a vision more for the future, which is what they needed to be doing anyway. The Steelers obviously have a vision, but the Steelers are always trying. That you can never take away from.
No, you can't from either of the 2 teams. There's one that just completely doesn't give a crap about anything, and then there's the other 2, which are the opposite extreme. Like, it's not just that they're the opposite extreme. And seeing the Steelers early on get rewarded the way they did for the summer that they had, even though it was mostly results and not so much performance, that was pretty heartening. To see the Penguins leap way ahead of schedule and make all of their management types kind of curious and nervous as to what the heck is going on is a totally different vibe, because the Penguins have this longer term script for how this is supposed to go.
Yeah.
And the longer term script includes banking on Ben Kindle and Harrison Brunick to come along like in a year or 2. Not now, children, not now. But then when you see what they're doing, it's really, really pretty neat, because this is not football in that sense. Football, a rookie comes in, we expected Caleb Johnson, bang, to be an instant impact. Well, he's a rookie. We expected Derrick Harmon to have that, had the injury, a bit of a setback. He's a rookie. Now you're expecting him to come in and play. And like I just said a few minutes ago, I want to see him out there regularly with Mr. Old Man on the defensive line. I want to see a him and Steph vibe. All over again. But to see the children come in for the Penguins right now and just play.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think with Derrick Harmon, I think eventually, and especially if we do see Keanu Benton continue to be inconsistent, I do think you'll see more snaps for Harmon down the stretch. I just don't think they're going to want to. Again, I don't think Mike Tomlin is the type to just be herky-jerky, flap in the wind. That's the way he's put it. And make quick decisions. Just to be like, okay, Keanu Benton's had 2 bad games. Now we're going to put all those snaps to Derrick Harmon and to White. Like, I don't, it's not like that. He's never really operated that way. And for the most part, over the course of his career as the coach of the Steelers, it's worked. It's not, never bat 1,000. Jose coming in with some fire, saying Tommy Novak is elite.
Jagoff, our baseball writer is sitting with me at the Penguins game the other night, and all I'm doing is just blasting Tommy Novak. You know how I'll do that when I'm sitting there with you, Chris. We're watching a football game, and I'll just find one guy, and you know what happens every time you do that, right? Novak engineers this gorgeous goal, and Jose is just sitting next to me wondering, you do cover hockey for a living, don't you?
Jose's a braver man than I am, man. I'll tell you what, that's awesome.
That is good stuff here. Cody Kuhn says that he thinks Harmon playing like he sees Harmon playing like a Pro Bowl guy as the season goes along, and that would be huge for the Steelers. No, it would be colossal. It'd be just immense, absolutely immense. But we also can't take it for granted, but we also can't see it happening unless there is that vibe. Listen, the schedule was what the schedule was. They had it set up so that guys would do a lot of rotating. Chris, can we safely assume that Sunday night some of that stuff is going to go to bed?
The rotation stuff, like up front, or
in general, rotation stuff.
I don't think
on defense.
I don't think, especially up front, the rotation stuff's not going away up front. On the second and third levels, like at linebacker and in the secondary, I'd like to think that it's not going to continue to be as volatile. I don't like seeing, regardless of how he performed, I don't like seeing Chuck Clark going from not getting a helmet in one game to getting like 61% of snaps the very next week.
That's something, huh?
With there being like no injury like reason for it. Like Deshaun Elliott was out, now he's back, or vice versa, or something. No, like there was no injury factor in that. It was just a decision that was made. It's weird to see that kind of stuff, because when you think about like, okay, I understand it's a different time back then, but you think about the greater defenses like in recent memory, like 08 and 2010, it was the same guys almost all the time. Yes, sure, there were rotations and stuff every now and then, but like linebacker was a perfect example. It was James Ferrier and Larry Foote. And then occasionally they'd put Lawrence Timmons in and he would be a nice fill-in. But it wasn't like Lawrence Timmons was stealing so many snaps away from Larry Foote. You know, Larry Foote was still the main guy who was lining up next to James Ferrier. You know, and Lawrence Timmons turned into a phenomenal linebacker. Like it's not like they weren't high on the guy or anything like that. But they had chemistry, like Ferrier and Foote had chemistry, and they played well together.
Yeah, it really, really, really worked. The inconsistencies of this defense. I'm sorry. I know you guys want to talk about different things here, but you know, we'll do that when they do that. We'll address that when they address that here. Do you think the Steelers will regret having passed on Jackson Dart? I will remind everybody that Ben Roethlisberger nailed this subject matter for all time, which is that you don't know anything about an NFL quarterback until after 3 full years as a starter. And he was saying that at the time. I can't remember who the other two were. RG3 was one of them. But there was RG3 and 2 other guys. And Ben was being asked, and I was around him when this happened, on a fairly regular basis about, you know, is this the next great class like you and Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers? And Ben was like, listen, the 3 of us, his class, we've been doing it a long, long time. Get back to me on this. And sure enough, who was that, Chris? It was RG3 or 2 other guys.
Andrew Luck was one.
Andrew Luck was another.
I don't remember the third one.
And neither do I. Somebody else will come up with it here.
But the 2 big ones from that class were Andrew Luck and RG3 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the time, I mean, they looked wonderful. There'd be nobody who was doubting that. You know, if anything, they looked like they could surpass everybody here. You know, Kirk Cousins says, William.
Cousins wasn't Cousins. He was
Winston.
I don't know. Definitely.
Oh, you guys are just flailing Eli. Get out of here, Eli.
Eli was part of Ben's class.
Yeah, that was Ben's class. We're talking about the class, the RG3 class. Who was in that group? There were 3 guys.
I can't remember. I don't even remember.
I don't know. You guys are
2012.
What are we paying you for here?
Yeah, Andrew Luck was first overall 2012. I did.
Here's the answer right here from Jeff Powers. Ready? Number 1.
Oh, Cam Newton?
Yep. Yeah.
Let's see.
I think it was Cam Newton.
Quarterbacks. Well, the 3rd quarterback taken in that class was Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been Tannehill.
Brandon Weeden at 22nd.
Sorry, obligatory burst out laughing at the mention of Brandon Weeden's name.
Russell Wilson was in the 3rd round that year.
It might be Russ.
Nick Foles.
Not Nick Foles. It might be Russ.
Yeah, I mean, because in terms of like the quarterbacks in the 1st round, it was Luck and RG3.
Okay.
And then Tannehill was 8th overall, but obviously we know
Tannehill. I think it would be Russ because Russ started right away. Russ played great right away. Mm-hmm. Russ checked every box from the moment he entered the league. So yeah, I would say that. I would say that's who it was. Anyway, the point stands. You just we don't know anything. We don't know anything. It's nice to see. I'll give you an example here, and I'm not suggesting that I doubt this young man's future here, but C.J. Stroud came along and looked like the perfect young quarterback last season. Stroud has taken a modest step backward. The Texans, as a franchise, have taken a significant step backward this year. They were supposed to be the up and comer, remember?
Oh yeah, and yeah, the Colts.
And they were supposed to be the team that was going to own the AFC South and whatever. And the Colts were like, that's us.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a matter of looking at anybody right now and then saying that they're done or they're established. It's not that here. You just never know, man. Carolina, who saw the Panthers winning any games? Remember, Chris, we saw them in the preseason.
I mean, Carolina is just. I'm still very pessimistic about the Carolina franchise. Still, still.
That's fine. No,
I mean, Bryce Young. I feel like if Bryce Young were playing for Sean McVay, we like the entire league would have a very, very different opinion on Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's a talented quarterback, but man, it's so hard to do something when you're playing for Carolina, especially when you come into the league with no support whatsoever. Like that's the one thing that I think when we're talking about the Steelers drafting their next quarterback, if they would have drafted Jackson Dart this year, and he would have become okay, let's put it in that perspective. Let's say they did draft Jackson Dart, and it was another Kenny situation all over again, where they start somebody else at the beginning of the year. Maybe it was Mason Rudolph. They start Mason Rudolph at the beginning of the year. Rudolph isn't getting the job after 4 or 5 games. Then they put Jackson in. Is this offense? The way it's constructed right now with the younger offensive line and the run game that's still trying to figure itself out and that needed the jolt from the jumbo package to get going, and then the wide receiver core with DK Metcalf and then everybody else, is that the really, really good nest to build for your franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I know.
Not saying the Giants' nest is great. And actually, Jackson Dart has exceeded already what I thought he would be in this league already.
This is good, too. William says, hey, Chris, do you think that the 2026 quarterback class is living up to the hype? I'll throw in, before I toss this to Chris, because I don't watch college football, but I'll throw this across first. I know that there are names that had been bandied about as like, oh, you got to do it for this guy. You got to do it for that guy. One of them was Drew Aller at Penn State. Now, never mind that the entire program apparently just fell flat on its figurative face.
It's collapsed.
But the quarterback preceded that. The quarterback,
He wasn't playing that bad. He wasn't playing like a first-round pick like a first-round pick, but he was not. That was not the reason why Penn State was losing those games.
And then, of course, he gets hurt. He was going to be out for the rest of the season, and is still going to be. And that's tough. But man, this is why people tank for this, tank for that. You just have no idea. You have no idea the change that can happen, but especially when it comes to football. Because there are so few games. We've seen in Pittsburgh just this season, the temperature, the mood, the feeling, never mind the reality, can shift from this to this, week to week. That's not us doing that. That's them. Yeah. So now take that and add into that the volatility of youth, inexperience, what happens offensively around a quarterback. That's another enormous variable. Did Will Howard make Ohio State, or did Ohio State make Will Howard? I mean, how many Ohio State quarterbacks have succeeded? I'm not picking on Ohio State. I don't do that because I really don't care about it. But I'm just asking, like in general, the team is always right up there. But how many of those are quarterbacks? You could say that about pretty much any program because of the volatility.
Yeah, well, and when we talk about this class, which by the way, Chris says, why was Arch Manning so highly touted? I mean, number one, I even said at the beginning of the year, like before the season started, Arch Manning is not going to be part of this class. Like, he's not coming out. He's just not. He could have like gone off and lived up to every Manning hype. He was never going to play only one, like be the starter at Texas for only 1 year. And obviously he looks like he needs more development, and that's fine. But then, yeah, Drew Aller doesn't look like a guy who was didn't look like a guy who was taking a step forward. Meanwhile, Mendoza has been phenomenal for Indiana. Mateers looked really good at Oklahoma. The kid from Oregon's been really good. It's been interesting. I do think next year's class is still going to be better than last year's class. That's not a high bar. Last year's class is pretty poor. Even if Jackson Dart does turn into a legitimate quarterback, it's still probably just two guys like Cam Ward, and the jury's still going to be out of Cam Ward for so long because the Titans are trash.
and let's not forget that a lot of what happens, speaking of Cam Ward and the Titans, is that you get to the NFL, and because the bad teams pick first, you're going to go to a bad team. Sometimes you'll go to a bad overall program, meaning Cleveland.
Yeah.
And you'll go there and you'll be absolutely everything they could have wanted or needed in terms of both performance and personality. Remember the amazing TV ad that Baker Mayfield did knocking on the door next door to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? He's just oozing everything you could have wanted. The Browns finally had their answer after filling up the back of that jersey 7 times. The one that starts with Tim Couch.
Won a playoff game for them in Pittsburgh.
Won a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Put up a bunch of points doing it. And they were like, nah.
We want Deshaun Watson.
We want Deshaun Watson.
Coming
Good
off
job.
injury.
Good job, everybody.
Good Lord, man.
So, yeah, you can also have that. You can have a situation like Cam Ward's where he comes in. He's taken over the same offense that Mason Rudolph was forced to run last year and couldn't. Let's just say he didn't want to go back if he didn't have to. Okay. I'm trying to find a nice way to say that without getting him in trouble. But he came here for a reason. He wasn't going to, they knew that they had Cam Ward, so he wasn't going to have a chance to start there. So why not go to the place where it's more familiar with a better offense and all that other stuff? But you can come into bad situations. Look at Daniel Jones right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that a good one?
Oh, seriously. I mean, Daniel Jones was the end of a punchline, every punchline. And he goes to Indianapolis, and Shane Steichen is finding. I've always thought Shane Steichen's been a really good coach. I've liked him for a few years now.
He schooled the Steelers.
He knows where the bones are buried in cover 3, man. And the Steelers were running a lot of cover 3 last year, and he knew exactly where to pick them apart. And for somebody who likes to watch offense, it was a gorgeous thing to watch because it was just, it was beautiful. But he's a really good coach. He's a really good offensive mind, and he has known exactly what to do with Daniel Jones. They've drafted well. Having Jonathan Taylor back obviously helps. Indianapolis has been a great story, and I love that the NFL most years has something like this. Doesn't always mean that it's some team that goes from being mediocre to having the best record in the NFL, but there's usually some sort of turnaround that happens. I thought the Patriots were going to be more of a turnaround team, and listen, Drake May, talk about quarterbacks that are turning into something. Drake May looked like does that win over the Patriots in week 3 look more and more impressive every week?
It looks more and more like,
my gosh.
It also looks more and more like New England really, really blew that game multiple times at the goal.
They turned the ball over 5 times.
Most of those right there under the goalposts.
Yeah, it's just but still, Drake May looks phenomenal, and the Colts are. I tell you what, that game, I'm more concerned about that game against the Colts than I am for the Steelers playing the Packers on Sunday night.
I am too, but that has everything to do with Jonathan Taylor. They're not going to have.
For me, that has everything to do with Shane Steichen ripping the Mike Tomlin / Terrell Austin defense apart with Joe Flacco. And who on the Steelers is going to cover Tyler Warren? That's what I want to know.
That's it. We're going to take a couple of more today. Excuse me. AFL says, well, I do watch a lot of college football and know the guys that were hyped are in no way living up to that hype. The best 4 can all go back to college if they want. So maybe you don't do this until 2027. That leads me into a point that was being made by one of about 1 billion members of the Will Howard fan club. And growing by the day, because Will did another interview with a great big smile on his face yesterday, and everybody loves Will. Steeler girl out in Hawaii, she says, so do you guys think that they should try to work out Howard instead of the 26 class? It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. There isn't an either or, except in social media land where everything is black and white. You're going to have Will Howard on your payroll next year. You're going to have Will Howard on your roster. He's not going anywhere. You also have Mason Rudolph under contract. So you have 2 out of 3 already there and under contract. No illusions, no maybe this, no maybe that. Aaron Rodgers obviously falls into the great, big, gigantic maybe category. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing that prevents you from saying, hey, we're picking in the first round, and that's the quarterback that we believe in. This idea that you have to be in the top 10 to get your quarterback is not supported by the evidence. It's just not. You can find the best quarterback in Steelers history, at least in my view, was taken outside the top 10. And of course, since I said that, I'm not talking about Terry Bradshaw. I'm talking about Ben. Ben was 11?
11th, yeah.
11th.
Patrick Mahomes is 10th. I mean, it doesn't have to be the number one pick. It doesn't have to be the number one pick. No.
They didn't trade up to that spot either.
No.
They just waited and they got him.
Yeah. I obviously, I do think, when we talk about like draft position and everything like that, you'd like to get further up if you can. Sure, I haven't done the history on this, but I would like to think that quarterbacks taken in the top 15 have been more successful than quarterbacks taken in like the bottom half of the first round. There are also a lot of Brandon Whedons and Johnny Manziels, and I'm not just picking on the Cleveland quarterbacks, but there have also been a lot of those types. It's not just Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love being taken in the 20s. There are always exceptions to the rule, just like Tom Brady is the obvious exception ever that a 6th rounder can turn into a Hall of Famer. But yeah, if you're the Steelers and you're picking 22nd or 24th, whatever it is next year, and you have the opportunity to do what the Chiefs did and to trade up to 10 to get your quarterback, to be like, we are identifying this guy as the quarterback that we believe is going to be our franchise quarterback of the future. What's stopping you from doing that?
Last question for the day goes to Eddie Carter, who says, is there anyone other than the Steelers who could win the AFC North as of right now? Yes, of course. It's week 8.
The Ravens are getting Lamar Jackson back most likely this week.
Let's do that. Let's open up the Ravens schedule. They're the team Cincinnati's not going to go anywhere. This isn't going to happen.
Most likely not, but Cincinnati's only a game and a half behind. And if the Steelers crap the bed against the Bengals at home, like now, if you finish with the same record as them, they own the tiebreaker over you. So
yeah,
I don't think the Bengals are winning the division. I don't. I didn't think that when Joe Burrow was their quarterback.
Yeah, I also see, incidentally, as far as who's making the playoffs out of the division, I think there's other teams in the AFC in general that have a better chance of rising up than the Bengals do. Yes. When you look at the fact that the Chiefs are in 3rd place in the AFC West, that's a screaming example at you. I would, and the Bills are in 2nd place behind the Patriots, which is nuts. I would say when I look at the Ravens and I see that they're dead last at 1-5, I still don't care. Lamar was a full participant in practice today.
Yeah, he's officially questionable, but most likely going to play.
He's going to play. He's not doing all that. They're not going through all that without him suiting up. They're going to play the Bears. It's a home game. They're going to win that game.
Oh, Bears are interesting too.
They're going to win that game. I'm not getting back into the predictions business. I'm just, come on, man.
The Bears are interesting, man. What Ben Johnson's doing with Caleb Williams is pretty interesting.
It can be interesting into oblivion. We'll see. The Ravens are still missing other people,
yes,
as well. So I don't mean to dismiss that. Then they've got Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, other Jets, Bengals. That's in order.
Yeah.
That's in order. That looks like something that could become a winning streak. Then they face the Steelers. Their first meeting with the Steelers is December 7th down in Baltimore.
Yep.
And they end with the Steelers here in Pittsburgh. I'm just saying, maybe it's because they've done this a zillion times where they just constantly will come back from the dead or overcome some kind of terrible start. Or remember last year when they couldn't stop anybody in the secondary? So they bring Coach Pease out of retirement and he comes in and fixes everything. And this is not you're going to need a stake through the eyeballs like on Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
To bury these guys.
I will say yes, the Ravens schedule lightens up, and I do believe that they are more than capable with the way their schedule goes of going on a run. But they do have the Packers on their schedule. I think that's in Lambeau too. They do have the Patriots on their schedule, and that's in December. And they have the Steelers twice. Now, I don't think either team is going to sweep the other.
They never do, or rarely do, I should say.
They rarely do. Even last year, the Ravens smoked the Steelers twice, but the Steelers still did win a game, and it was the one at home. So I don't think.
But somebody can win it. That's the point here. Somebody
absolutely.
else can win it, and Pittsburgh can win it too. Pittsburgh can become a better football team than it is now. You got to be really cautious about static analysis, meaning how you feel in the moment. Things can change, and they can change violently from week to week. Aaron gets the final word today, says, I think this Green Bay game is the true test if the Steelers can hang with the playoff guaranteed teams. I'm not going to agree with that entirely, Aaron. I'm going to say that it's the first test. All right. I don't know if it's a true test. The following week is hard to. They're not allowed to look ahead. We are. Okay. The following week, you're lining up with what's actually the best team in football so far this season in the Colts. But it's the first test along the way, and it's a good test. Green Bay's a good team.
Oh yeah, they're a phenomenal team. But the question I guess I'd like to pose, I guess to close this up, is as bad as everybody feels and felt about this team after losing the way they did against the Bengals, do you feel better about this team if they beat the Packers by almost any means necessary? I'm talking about whether they, play terribly and win, or if they play a good game and win. If they win, if they beat the Packers, which only one other team has done this year, which I know is the Browns, but if they beat the Packers, and they're 5-2, how do you feel about the team? Does your opinion swing back to where it probably was before they lost to the Bengals, or does that loss to the Bengals in Cincinnati really just weigh everything else down?
I need to see the defense, Chris.
Yeah.
I need to see the defense comes back. And Ben's with me here. He says the defense just needs to show up. Rodgers will do the rest. If you look back to the Packers' only loss,
they scored 10 points.
They scored 10 points. That's because Cleveland shut them down.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Okay, this team overall, let's get real here. The whole idea is not just to get into the playoffs. It's always win that one playoff game, end of the streak or whatever. Okay, great. The idea is to just get better and to get progressively better. The way to do that when you're facing a run of quality teams like this is to have your facets improve. I've said this week, I have no issue with the Steelers losing Sunday night if their defense plays great. And I don't mean good, I mean great. Because I can start believing in this all over again. I really can. If they can shut this team down, the same things we said are very similar to some of the things that we said in advance of Cleveland week. Remember that? Just put up some points. Just put up some points. Those guys have a great, not good, great defense. The Browns do. Put up some points. Well, they put up 23. And it made a difference.
Yeah.
Against a really, really nice defense here. No one says this defense is nowhere close to Cleveland's. Did you say that in the summertime? Or are you just kind of giving them a pass now? Look at the names that are on there. Now, do the Steelers have a Jim Schwartz coordinating? A different question.
Yep.
Question.
No, but the Steelers run a similar type of defense to the way the Browns do in terms of schematics, in terms of, philosophy, get after the quarterback, single high, get an extra man down, stop the run. Like they operate in a similar way. So it would not surprise me if the defense is able to stop the run and they're able to pin their ears back and get after Jordan Love, that they end up having a successful game. Last time they played Jordan Love, which was 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
they held the Packers to 19 points. It's not like this defense doesn't know how to play against Matt LaFleur. Now, Matt LaFleur is a really smart offensive mind, and I think he's gonna know, certain ways to attack. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it's a very, very interesting matchup. I really, really do. I'm curious. I'm probably more curious about this game than anything else, not just because it's the Packers and they've only lost one game. They're a Super Bowl contender. It's about the type of matchup with this.
Exactly.
Because, this could go a number of different ways.
Michael thanks us for the great show. It's only great because of you guys. That's not a lie. Look at how much we involve you in this. We don't just put your stuff up there and ignore you or whatever, or just have the chat just roll down the screen. You're a part of this show. And if you're coming in here and saying, dumb things and asking stupid questions or whatever, then it's not a good show. That's not what we get. That is not at all what we get here. And that is a massive part of this thing. If you want to become a part of our full-time, I guess that's a good way to put it, community, what we've built on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app, go ahead and download the app. And hear this when I say it. Sometimes the people develop what's called ad blindness because, he said this yesterday. This is actually what we do. This is what sustains us, the app. We would love to have you as a member. We have people from 150 different countries who are in there commenting and everything. Download the app. That part is free. To become a commenter and to get the full experience and to communicate with us, there's a premium level. It's not expensive at all. Email me, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. You're actually going to be really surprised by how little it is. I will get you in. I've got a pretty good closing rate here. dk@dkpittsburghsports.com, and just say, give me your app. Give me your app. Give me the good version of it. Say that, and we'll take care of it. Chris, any final thought going into the weekend?
And just, man.
Zach Frazier's going to be all right?
He got back to practice today. Whenever I talked to them yesterday, he was just talking about, the calf sore and everything, but it's mainly been about rest this week than it has been about
calves are weird.
They are weird
injuries.
I will say when Frazier was out for a couple games last year, Ryan McCollum came in and did a phenomenal
this is
job.
a one position I never sweat. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry to Zach, but Ryan McCollum came in and we just went, what?
Yeah.
Because the running game exploded without him.
They played that even when McCollum came in and it was the Raiders game that he got injured and he came in. That's like after that is when Najee ripped off that touchdown run. Now, granted, a lot of that was Najee. That was one of his angry runs that he has every now and then where you're just like, whoa, but still, no. McCollum's a very, very quality. And by the way, just I've reported this previously on our app, but I'll pull it back for you guys. Ryan McCollum is on this team because of one guy, and his name is Pat Meyer. Pat Meyer pounded the table to keep Ryan McCollum last year, and Ryan McCollum answered the bell whenever his number was called. When Zach Frazier went down with the injury, he came in and played very, very well, and so Ryan McCollum earned a spot on the 53 because of Pat Meyer. Pat Meyer was the one who went to bat for him. So if you want a reason to like Pat Meyer, there you go.
Guys, we're going to hook up again on Sunday. Steelers versus Packers is an 8:20 p.m. kick at Acrisure Stadium. See you either over there or here or wherever it is that we run into each other. Again, thanks so much for watching and for supporting this program. Go get the app. Seriously.